Now, today in New South Wales, we had a snap press conference from the Premier, Gladys Berejiklian. I remind you, she's been by far the most rational, sensible and competent Premier during this pandemic. She called a news conference today, broadcast live on this station, announcing just one community case of coronavirus.
The gentleman is in his 50s, very active in the inner east. Our job now is to get on top of it, to identify any other potential cases, to identify the source.
Dramatic stuff. I can guarantee you it'll be leading the news bulletins around New South Wales. This should not be such big news. But remember, other capital cities have been locked down for days on the back of just one or two cases. So the paranoia is running deep. Berejiklian had a better take on all of this stuff recently, back in April, when she said each infection should not be big news.
Measuring cases every day isn't going to cut it once the vaccine's rolled out. We don't really count how many people have a cold, but we do talk about how many people with a cold have to be admitted to hospital, or unfortunately how many people succumb to the disease. And that's the way we have to think about COVID.
Yes, my colleague Andrew Clennell dug that comment out earlier today, and Gladys Berejiklian is right there. We need to tone this down. I know I've been saying it for more than a year now, but we need to learn to live with the virus, not be paranoid and hysterical. We showed some progress for a while, but we're going backwards right now. We've got to stop being alarmist, stop scaring people, stop making a disaster out of every single infection of a disease that is mild or even asymptomatic for 99% of Australians who get it. How long till people calm down and get a grip on this, do you reckon? And another thing on the pandemic, there have been more scandalous revelations about the Victorian hotel quarantine scheme. A senior Victorian official involved in infection prevention has been stood down after it was revealed he'd been reported for refusing mandatory COVID tests when he was attending hotel quarantine sites that he was in charge of. Now, there's plenty more revealed in an investigation by the Australian newspaper, and it's pretty important in the current controversy over this country refusing to allow Australians in India to come home. We can see from these revelations again in Victoria that if there are problems at hotel quarantine, they're related only to how poorly states run the program, how slack they are, and how they then overreact to any outbreaks. Only New South Wales does it right. And the incompetence of the other states, the utter incompetence of Victoria in particular, is the reason there's so much concern about India, and it's therefore the reason that 9,000 Australians are being refused their right to come home. Now, it's the wrong decision by Canberra, don't get me wrong, I stick by that, but clearly it's been prompted by these incompetent states.